Hey there, everyone. Good morning. Coming to you, this is Morgan, coming to you live from the Highland Cycles Nobby Lobby for the Gospel of Two Wheels, number 16, I believe. Today we are going to be joined by Mason Ottersberg, who is a factory beta rider racing Endurocross and the AMA Big Six Championship. So I think I am a minute early, so some of you guys may not. It's funny. Yep, there's little eyeballs coming in. Chandler Henry, what is up, my brother? How are you, man? The coffee's good and hot this morning. I made this myself, and it is glorious. The Cole Carmichael, what's happening, brother? Hey, there's Mason. He is in, and he says, yo. So we're going to bring him on right about now. This has ever been done. So, super cool. It's gray and kind of out there today. So, hopefully we get some snow. We need some snow bad in this state. But, yeah. Hey, Mason, what's happening, man?
What's going on, man?
Not much. So we are right on time. Good job.
I try my best. I
The,
don't have a normal job, so
hey,
whenever I can try and make a normal situation out of it, I will.
For sure. Do you have like a studio? Are you in like is that a special background behind you?
It's just our living room.
Oh, right on. Okay. I
These
thought you had
nice decorative curtains.
Oh, okay. I thought you'd like set up some super rad studio.
No. I don't think I'd go to that effort.
So Mason, let's start with, first of all, tell us about the series that you're racing. You just got done with Endurocross, but what a lot of us out here in Colorado don't know what the AMA Big Six is. So
yeah,
so lowdown on that.
AMA Big Six, kind of just like any works GP style event, but it's club run. So I don't know if you're like familiar with AMRA or Weeby. I think Weeby's the same way, but each race is put on by a different club, and then they're hour and a half GP races. Usually, I think lap times can be anywhere from 8 to 18 minutes, something like that. But yeah, it's fun. And now they just went for a national AMA title, so now they have a national plate. So should be pretty good. Yeah.
Is it,
but
desert?
yeah, it's mostly desert. I know they're adding a few more events this year. I'm not too sure if we're going to go up north at all, but most of them are in California, so it's not too far from me, from Phoenix.
Right on. Nice. Is it so it's just as many laps as you can do in that time period plus one for
yeah. I don't think it's really a plus one. It's just once you reach an hour and a half, then they draw out the checkered.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Right on.
Yeah.
Sweet.
But yeah, it's cool. So I'm doing the last round for the year next weekend, December 7th in Lake Havasu.
Okay.
So that one's usually pretty fun. It's hard. It's
Nice.
like all sand whoops. So I've been training for that for the last 2 weeks, and after this I'm getting ready to go head of the sand track. So it should be pretty fun.
Right on. Where is your sand track out in Phoenix?
You know where Canyon is, the MX track?
Yeah.
So we just go out behind the MX track and just go pound laps out behind there.
Right on. Nice.
Yeah, it's brutal. I think that track is probably one of the hardest sand tracks I've ever ridden. It's harder than anything ever. Like the sand whoops. I mean, it's almost as deep as like a bike in some spots. It's pretty gnarly.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of effort, but it's worth it.
Yeah, for sure. You mentioned Weeby. Have you raced any of the Weeby stuff here?
No, I've always wanted to come out. My buddy Dylan Osborne lives out in Apache, and he was always telling me about how he used to race that stuff.
Yeah.
And I think I had a buddy, Jacob Sandifer. Yeah, I think he did some of those too. I've been riding with him quite a bit lately too. It's pretty cool.
Right on.
Yeah.
I mean, even Taylor made it out to a few long time ago. I remember getting lapped by him in New Mexico. um, and then obviously all the local fast guys around here have raced them all, but there's one down in Farmington, New Mexico that is like sand
Yeah.
whoops
Yep.
that tall for miles, and it's
Stuff's
miserable.
gnarly. It definitely makes a man out of you if you can ride that thing well. You're like you feel on top of the world after that. It's pretty crazy.
For sure. What is after? So after that, what's going to be your program for this winter? What are you going to be doing?
So we'll have the rest of the month off, and then I'll probably just kind of take a break and have some fun, just kind of do whatever. And then January we start back up. um, I'll be doing the Big Six again, and then Enduro Cross, and then I'm gonna try and hit as many of those Sprint Hero races as possible, and then I'm gonna finish out the AMRA series as well, that local series that we have.
Okay.
Just I don't think I am now because I had to miss a race, but I was leading that championship, and it's good practice. So I just figured I'd show up at those and do as many as I can.
Right on. And I know you're factory beta guy now. What does that look like for a guy like you? I mean, with a smaller manufacturer like that, but still factory support. I mean,
It's definitely I don't want to say it's a smaller team because I feel like as a team we have more riders than probably any other team in the U.S. like as far as off road goes. But
right,
I mean, they're putting a lot of effort into trying to get the brand out there. I mean, they got a semi now. They're doing demo tours, so definitely like go to the website and check out, see if there's a demo tour in your area because they got this badass semi. It's so awesome, and they bring out a bunch of bikes and basically
nice.
just like the KTM demo tours that they used to do. But yeah, it's a cool opportunity for sure. And then they have a new bike coming out next year that I heard is supposed to be pretty good. They're gonna have a lot of changes for that.
What's that? Is it a two-stroke, four-stroke?
Both. They're two stroke and four stroke, but I think they're putting a lot of focus on the four stroke for next year.
Okay, right on.
Just from what I've heard. I mean, I could be wrong, but I've heard quite a bit of things about the 2020 bikes being pretty good.
Nice. Are they? So, are you helping test any of that stuff, or?
No, I've been told through some of the guys at the shop that they've been having some input as far as what they think could be better, and
Cool.
I don't know if the changes are coming, but from what I was told, it should be pretty good. And I think they might be coming out with a factory edition style
Okay.
bike for the US only down the road too, which should be pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm stoked. I think the bike's just as comparable to anything else, to be honest.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
absolutely. What are you guys
430.
running for suspension on your bikes? Which like fork and shock setup? Because I know that.
It's the Sachs.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just Sachs. I think the RRs come with a closed cartridge, so
Right.
it's just kind of like any regular motocross closed cartridge fork, and then the regular R models, I think they come with it's more like a dual sport style setup. Like they have the rebound adjuster on the top and then a compression adjuster on the other side.
Right.
Kind of like a SSF fork.
Right.
I don't know if it's separate function, but it just has the adjuster like that. So
Gotcha.
it's pretty good.
Right on. And are you running that stuff just valve for you, or do you guys get
Yeah.
special?
No, we run the sack stuff, closed cartridge. We just have it valved super stiff. You know, like my bikes. I mean, my teammate Chance, he probably has one of the stiffest setups out of anybody on the team. But after riding a couple of his bikes, I'm just like, oh my gosh, that's the direction I needed to be going this whole year. So now, you know, after a little bit of time, I think we're pretty close on where I need to go with suspension. So I'm stoked.
Nice. Right on. The um and real quick, just so everybody who is watching, you guys chime in with any questions for Mason at all. Let's start with us. Other basics. How old are you now, Mason?
24, just turned
24 years
24.
old. Nice. Right on.
Yeah.
And are you a Phoenix area native?
hmm Yeah, I've
Okay.
lived in Phoenix my whole life. I'm living in North Phoenix now, just kind of doing my own thing. So it's cool.
Cool. There, can you see these comments coming up?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's Jamin asking the question if you want to answer that.
So the social media stuff, I honestly, it's like really just posting regularly and consistent. And then, like, what helped me, to be honest, is like when I was trying to grow my social media, I just did a bunch of stupid stuff. Like, just do like cool lines or uh, like just going over rocks and just like showcasing that kind of stuff that not a lot of people would see on the day to day. So, it's something different that your eye's going to be catching. And I don't know, for me, it worked. I mean, one year, just from doing stuff like that almost every day or every other day, I think I went up 13,000 followers in a year just from
Yeah,
that. So, I mean, it helped a lot, but now that Instagram's kind of changed their algorithm, I guess, it doesn't work the same way. So for me, it's been really hard to try and get my account to grow. Now I'm just more or less just doing it because I know what to do, but I'm not really trying to grow it at all.
sure.
If it goes up, it goes up. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So it's kind of where I'm at.
Does Beta put any pressure on you for that kind of stuff? Do they say you got to post some amount or anything?
Not not typically. Sometimes we'll get emails about like certain sponsor promotions or something that sponsors send out that they would like us to help share. But not too often that we get those. It's just really kind of on our own time. And I just know how important it is in this industry now, especially. I definitely don't rely on my social media to get me what I have, but, it
Right.
definitely helps. And for me, when I was doing my whole thing on my own with getting all my own sponsors, I was basically playing team manager for myself. And I mean, at one point, I had probably 15, 20 sponsors that I had gained on my own. And almost every single one of them were like, we really appreciate what you're doing marketing wise over social media. It helps a ton. So it's definitely important to them. And more so, I'm doing it for them rather than me. So it's
Sure.
worth it.
For sure, right on. Matt Andreas put up the tacos because that is a common question: is are you into tacos, and if so, what is your favorite kind of taco?
Carne, tacos, and Mexican food is probably my favorite. So definitely
Nice.
I'm on board with that train for sure.
Yes,
I
right on.
could eat Mexican food every day and I wouldn't be tired of it.
Right. I
I
actually
live off it.
I make it a point to at least once a month have breakfast, lunch, and dinner all Mexican, and it drives my wife nuts. the
That'd be tough until your asshole decides to blow out because you just ate too much.
Yeah, exactly. You got to ease up on the hot sauce.
Right?
So when did you start riding dirt bikes? How old were you?
I think my dad got me started on a quad when I was like 2.5. And we did that for a little bit, but I wasn't really into it. And then I tried my brother's dirt bike and I didn't know how to balance and I kept crashing. So from maybe 4 years old up until I was about 9, I never rode a dirt bike. And then I finally rode one and I'm like, okay, I'm kind of into this.
Nice.
So my parents bought me and my brother a couple of pit bikes and we did that for maybe 6 months. And then I got my first 65, went to my first race and won the beginner race. So then we kind of just kept going with it. And then eventually I won a few 85 championships and like the off-road expert class. I was like the highest class you could go, and did that. And then through high school, I actually was like, okay, maybe I'll be a firefighter and kind of chase that route. But something just kind of kept telling me I should keep doing this. And when I was about 18 and got out of high school, I just kind of put an emphasis on chasing this and seeing how far I could go with it. And yeah, it took getting until 23 to finally make something work. But yeah, it's been a long road for sure.
For sure. Well, anything that's worth it takes a ton of work. So that's kind
Yeah, well, and it was funny because the year I got hired, I like in the beginning of that year, I was like ready to quit. I was so tired of it because I was working 2 jobs trying to make it to every single one of the races and save up money. And I mean, it got to the point where I'm just like, why am I kill myself trying to make all this work and for the very small chance of making it happen? And my girlfriend kind of talked me out of it at the time, and fortunately she did because now I'm here. So it's
Yeah,
it's been a blessing for sure.
that's awesome. So that's a question I have, and I'm sure a bunch of other people want to know is when you get hired by Beta, for instance, you had to ride with Sherco for a little bit, right? Sort of.
If
What?
you want to call it that.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, we won't go there because I kind of know that guy. But um,
Yeah.
but so when you get hired with Beta, are you? I mean, obviously you get bikes to ride for free. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
And then, do you get a paycheck every month, or how does that work?
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know how it works for everybody, but at least I know with a couple of my teammates, they get like a check once a month. It's all salary based, so you just get paid for the month. But um, yeah, it's just that's kind of how it works. Then you have your bonuses on top of that too. If you do well at a race, you'll get a check on top of that. But
Cool.
your salary just kind of depends on how good you are and what kind of results you can bring to the table. And
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. And then, do you get to keep your prize money if if you win at the race? I'm guessing.
Yeah, so like any of the prize money you make, you can keep, and then obviously just all the bonuses on top of that. But yeah, the prize money is kind of the reason you show up to the races, I think.
For sure. And then how did Endurocross go for you this year? I did not pay attention to all the results, so I don't know. And if it's a sore subject, I don't know. But,
No, I mean, it definitely wasn't the year I was expecting. I mean, to be honest, I really kind of came into that year feeling like I could potentially be a top 5 guy.
right,
And for whatever reason, I just couldn't put it together. It, I really don't know what it was. I think a lot of it was my first year on a team and kind of didn't really have that experience of being on a team. So I put way too much pressure on myself.
right,
And toward the end of the year, I started turning it around. My my riding loosened up. I kind of felt like I was flowing with the bike a lot better. Everything just felt right. And at the beginning of the series, I rode tight. I let the pressure get to me, and just really just kind of had that first half of the year just sucked. But yeah, and then I turned it around, and I felt like I was riding really well toward the end. So hopefully, just next year we can
yeah,
turn it around.
for sure. Charlie's got a question there. So, what does your training routine consist of? Like, give us a Monday through Friday, quick look.
Uh, it kind of varies, but typically, like I go to the gym 4 or 5 days a week, depending on what it is. Usually, it's different every day, but there's like 2 days in between where I'm either doing something on a rower or I'm out mountain biking. And then the other days are more like a core and body strength type of day. Um, and then riding wise, typically I try to knock my workouts out first and then I'll go ride after and then finish the day off with that. And then usually when I go ride, just depending on what I'm getting ready for is what I'm trying to train.
Sure.
Uh, But like, well, when I go out and ride, I have a few tracks that are like a 5 minute loop, a 10 minute loop, and then I work on either skills one day, and I just work on my technique, and then another day I do sprints, and I give it 110% effort to try and get out of my comfort zone a little bit.
Sure.
And then another day would be a moto day, and I would just go out and I would do like 30 or 45 minutes on a 10-minute track and just try to, you're more like 80-90% effort on the moto days, but
Right.
typically that's what I try to stick to. And then other days, if I just want to go out and have fun and cruise around and I have a bunch of buddies that just want to go mess around, then we'll do that instead. I really I got serious with it in the beginning. I'm like, oh, I'm on a team. I have to get like super dedicated and serious. And I think it kind of took the fun away from it a little bit. You know, I was still having fun doing it, but you didn't have that same excitement level. It was more like you're going out knowing you're practicing for a purpose rather than just going out to goof off.
Right.
So I think that was the biggest difference that I learned this year halfway through, is to try and like make it fun.
Right.
So typically when I go out and train, I just try to remind myself like I'm doing this for fun. I'm not trying to do this to kill myself. And you know, there's definitely a balance involved for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Charlie also also asking if you have a coach. Do you have a coach at all? Like, there's just a team coach, or
I mean, our team manager, Rodney Smith, he's the 5-time GNCC champ.
yeah.
So he's, I definitely, I try to call him a lot and pick his brain and, you know,
Where's
really
he
try to
living now?
learn. He lives like kind of North California.
Okay.
I don't know the name of the town exactly, but
Yeah.
I think it's like an hour or 2 hours north of where the beta shop is, and the beta shop's in Paso Robles.
Yep.
So yeah,
Okay. No, I know right where that is. The Okay, that's cool. Right. So he moved.
yeah,
I was asking if he moved west because obviously the GNCC series is all back east, and I think that's where he's from.
yeah. I don't know if he was living back east or not. I haven't really asked him that, but as far as I know, he's kind of had that house in California for quite a while.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so I just I try to learn from his mistakes and pick his brain a bunch so I don't make the mistakes. And you know, it's been huge. He's helped me a ton this year, and even now he's good. He's definitely sticking up for me, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And then, you know, like typically there's days where I'll go ride with Destry and Cooper, and you know, I really just try to learn from him and pick his brain when I can. Um, so we'll go out and do like sprints or, you know, whatever with him, and then I'll go out to Colton's house and ride with him quite a bit. He's gone out of his way to help me out quite a bit this year too, but um, I just really try to tag along with some of the better guys and just learn from them and see what I can gain.
Yeah, for sure. Chris is asking, are you going to do extreme enduros this year?
I don't know if I'm an extreme enduro type of guy. Like, don't get me wrong, I love doing it, but I think my height presents some challenges for that.
Right. Fair enough.
You know, I'm only like 5'8", so my height to having to stand off the bike and do stuff like that definitely isn't the best. But um, I mean, I can do it. I'm not afraid of doing it, but I
Right.
just don't train for it.
Right. And I'm
So
guessing.
if I have an opportunity to, and somebody wants to give me their bike to borrow, I'll go and do it. But I don't think Beta's gonna give out a bike for me to trash for just one race.
Exactly. Here's your disposable bike. Just go and
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
what
I
bike are
wouldn't.
you riding?
So I'm on a 430 for all the GP stuff,
Okay.
and then and then a 390 for endurocross.
Right on.
And honestly, I was pretty surprised. I thought that 390 was going to be a lot of bike, but the thing's pretty nimble. Like, I spent half the year riding endurocross on it, and I think it's probably one of the best bikes I've had for endurocross setup wise. I think it works good, it handles good. It's definitely more comfortable than any bike I've been on as well. I mean, I try to explain it to a lot of people. So I was riding Yamaha last year, and
Right.
then we went testing back in January, and that was the first time I got on a beta. Basically, I rode a few before, but never really rode them.
Right.
And I think I rode just like playing around on it for maybe an hour and put some time on it, and then we went out to one of the tracks that we did some sprint times on, and I ended up beating my time by 5 seconds. My best
Wow.
time was like 2:25 on my Yamaha, and it was like my first time out on the track timing it. And I was like 220 on the beta, like right away.
Nice.
And we didn't touch clickers. We didn't even get to that part yet. I'm like, holy crap, like this thing rips. Like I
Yeah,
was pretty impressed. So after that, it definitely changed my mind. I was stoked.
that's way cool. Yeah, that's awesome. The are you guys doing anything in like what do you guys do to the motor, or do you do anything to the motor on the team for racing?
I've heard some guys like on the East Coast have had their heads ported and polished and just like minor stuff, but my bike's stock. I just put an exhaust on it, put an open map on it for the FMF and call it good.
Nice.
It's pretty I I think it's pretty comparable to KTM. I mean, when I go to the track with Cooper, if him and I are coming out of a corner on the motocross track at the same time, him and I are relatively the same pace.
Right.
So
That's
it doesn't
awesome.
really have too much or too little. I think it's just kind of right there. Um, I think the biggest difference is with these bikes, you kind of notice that it's got more of a bottom end chug. Like it has more of a tractor like feel
Right.
to it. So you can really lug it down and just carry a gear high, which is something I enjoy because I feel like if you can ride a bike clicked up a gear, you're going to be riding way smoother than when you're just trying to rail on the pipe and letting stuff just kind of get out of control. But that's just my riding style, and you can save some energy that way.
Yeah, for sure. The I know that back in the day, I had a friend that was working for Alan when is Alan
Yeah.
still doing anything with you guys?
He's not involved with the team in any
Okay.
way.
Right.
Yeah, so our suspension is done in house now. We have our own suspension guy.
Okay.
He's good.
Nice.
That guy's smart for sure.
I'm sure. But I remember talking to him and some guys that worked with him about the bikes back then, and they were taking exhibitions and taking all the gears out of it except for like two.
Yeah, so like our endurocross bikes, that's how it's set up.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't think they do that. I'm not sure if they did that with the two strokes or not, but mine and Max's bike, we had just two-speed trannies, which I'm never even in first gear. I'm always in second gear, and
Okay.
you never really have to shift or move around at all.
Okay.
It's pretty
Yeah,
good the
that's
way it is.
nice. Do you know what two gears they are? Like, I mean, it's probably custom. Just yeah.
No, I don't know. I think it's just straight. They just pull fourth, fifth, and sixth gear out and call it good. I think it's
Oh,
just first and second, and
okay.
then we just play around with the gearing and try and get what we want out of the gearing. Typically, we fluctuate between a 49 and a 50 rear tooth, and then that's like for the faster tracks we go down to 49, and for the tighter ones we'll run like a 50.
Right. Right on. So Jamin said, I don't know if you can read that. Been a comfort zone racer, starting to wonder if he needs to go over his head to go fast. Jamin, by the way, is real fast. I don't know if you know Littlefield, but he's fast.
I don't think so.
He's a top 10 guy in some of the desert series.
Okay.
Spends a bunch of time in uh, Colorado. His dad has a place here. They do
Nice.
ATV rentals. Anyway, so so I guess the question would be, do you feel like to push yourself, do you have to like to get to your level? Do you have to take some
Oh,
chances at times to kind of move that comfort zone up?
yeah, I think like the biggest thing is kind of like what I talked about. Like I have a certain day where like I'll do sprints, and then like one day is a moto day.
Right.
But typically like when we do sprints, that's kind of when you get out of your comfort zone a little bit and you try to push it. Um, typically anytime I try to practice, especially when I'm doing sprints, like I really focus on getting uncomfortable, like to the point where it's so uncomfortable that you're like scaring yourself a little bit. But then once you do that enough times, then it becomes a new level of comfort.
Right.
So for me, it's more or less just it's just like pushing yourself to be that next level.
Sure.
And there's work and it's just like anything. You try something new and you're like, okay, that's a little scary, but once you do it enough times, it's fresh, it's comfortable, and you're at that next level. And I think I try to create more of a habit of that too, is focusing more on getting uncomfortable more often than not. And I think over the long term, you start to pick up your speed because of that.
Right. What do you? So as an old guy, um, who likes to go sort of kind of faster, the what do you do about worrying about injury and things like that? I mean, obviously, I got a different job than you do, so I don't push it to that kind of point. But when you're looking at an obstacle and you're like, okay, I got to do this, what goes through your mind about an injury? Because it could obviously hold your career back for a little while,
Yeah,
or you just don't
I
worry
kind
about
of
it.
I no, I have the habit of doing the same thing. Like when I was at Colton's house the other day, he has this like super big triple jump, and from the video it doesn't look that bad, but in person it looks pretty gnarly.
Yeah,
And you don't really have a huge run up to it. So like right out of the corner, you already have to be committed and on the gas all the way up the lip. Like the lip is straight up. And I think I probably hit it 50 times before I was finally like, all right, I'm either going to hit this or I'm going to go home and feel like a pussy. And so I just kind of, it's probably not the most realistic, but I went off the lip and I was just like, all right, I'm just going to hold it open and I'm not going to look back. I'm either going to crash or I'm going to make it. And I made it. And as soon as I did, I'm like, are you serious? It took me this long to make that. Like I felt like such a beginner because it took me so long to hit that. And that's kind of my biggest focus now is learning to trust myself because like I go out and ride single track and off road and I don't second guess any of that. I just like my reaction time is so quick. I just really try to focus on not giving up those half seconds everywhere.
right.
But like you go out to a California motocross track and they have these huge jumps. That's where I'm kind of out of my comfort zone a little bit. So for me, like I've been spending a lot of time in California just really trying to focus on getting comfortable with doing those things that I'm not necessarily comfortable with and
Sure.
trusting when I go and jump. But like even in endurocross, they throw these obstacles in and the jumps aren't that gnarly, but the fact is, when you have a cupped out log and you don't have any dirt to it, and then you see Colton and Cody jumping some crazy obstacle and you're like, are you serious? Like, why am I not even thinking about hitting that and these guys are going out and doing it? So it's that kind of thinking where I'm trying to get to that level where you can kind of look at something and go, okay, I can kind of turn this into that, which, in turn is going to make you that much faster. That might be a second, 2 seconds faster just doing that. And if
Right.
you do that every lap, you're going to be picking people off so easy. And it's hard because at Endurocross, especially now, we have this group coming up, and I'm kind of a part of this group that's come up the last few years. And then you have your Colt and your Cody. Tristan Hart's really progressed a ton, and then Ty Tremaine, I feel like are those four, and then everybody else below that are kind of following their lead. But that's kind of what I feel like they've found. They've found those half seconds everywhere on the track to separate them from everybody else. And then all of us are kind of doing the same lines and just trying to be as fast as they can on the same lines and nothing separating us. So I look for things that can do that at any track that I'm at. So you just look for places to gain time.
Nice. It's 8 o'clock, but I want to ask you one last question, just for all of us normal folks out there that are trying to get better. If you had like one training drill that you were gonna do that you could do on like let's say flat ground, because not everybody has an endurocross track in their backyard or
Yeah.
whatever. What's the one training drill that you would recommend for people to gain bike skills?
I mean, if you just bring it back to the basic fundamentals of riding, just working on balance, like even if you're in your front yard and you're bored, either do figure eights in the dirt where you're doing super tight figure eights and you have to stand up on the bike and go like first gear idle and
Yeah.
just try and work on that. Shutting the bike off and sitting in the dirt and just trying to sit there and balance. Those things work really well. Uh, wheelies are good.
Yeah.
Um,
And they're cool.
they're cool, but like if you can learn how to control what the rear tire is doing, like if you can predict what your rear tire is doing, you can end up doing different things. Even like when you're out riding single track, let's say there's a little G out and most people would roll it. If you can predict what you can do with your rear tire, you can almost wheelie over that ditch and then place your rear tire where you want it to. But you have to be comfortable having the front wheel up like that. And I feel like learning how to wheelie and do those slow wheelies, you can kind of get comfortable with keeping the front end up and knowing what it's doing. Those things help out quite a bit.
Right on. And then one last one from the guys that are watching. Chris said, "Do you think endurocross needs to get more technical to avoid MX with a matrix?" So, what do you think? How do you feel about the tracks?
I'm kind of biased on that. I do like how technical they are, but at the same time, I like when they have a little bit of jump and flow to them because it's kind of it's unique because it's like watching arena cross, but you're watching a guy send it off of a lip that's cupped out and you have a log as a lip instead of dirt, which I think is unique for what it is. But there's ways of creating a jumpy, flowy track mixed in with a good technical track. Um, like last year we had a race in Reno and that was perfect. It had your rhythm sections, you had your rocks, your matrix, your firewood, and they were all technical. So you had really technical sections combined with your jumpy, flowy sections, and it just made it fun. And I think that's the biggest difference is you show up to an endurocross and it's all technical, it's all just wanting to kill you, and you kind of lose that fun factor a little bit. I
Yeah.
mean, just for my style. I mean, I'm sure other people are, different, but I mean, technical can be fun, but for me, that's more like when I'm just playing around and goofing off. I like to challenge myself like that, but I really love the flowy technical mixed tracks. Those are my favorite for sure.
Sweet. Right on, man.
um,
I really, really appreciate you taking time to do it. Any plugs like for your website or anything like that you want to give out for people to check things out?
just go to my Instagram. I don't have
Right
a
on.
website or anything, but
Cool. Are you just at
yeah,
Mason
just
Ottersberg?
go. Yeah, just at Mason Ottersberg. You just kind of keep up with what's going on with me or my Facebook page and just search my name. Yeah, that's really it.
Right on. Sweet, man. Well, I thank you
When
so much.
are when are we gonna see you do a race?
I am gonna make it to an endurocross race here eventually, but actually,
What
hopefully,
about a what about the downtown Montrose race? We need another one of those.
we badly need that. And actually, unfortunately, the Moto Mayhem thing ended up like just sucking the life out of Jason and me.
Oh,
Um, and, and part of it's the whatever, long story. But anyway, I'm hoping to do another downtown Montrose race maybe this summer for this Ride Montrose thing I'm doing. And just
yeah.
do a one-off deal, not a series again. And
I
then
think that's all it needs to be, to be honest.
yeah,
That prologue event was so much fun. I think that's
I know.
probably the best part about it.
Yeah, it was a blast. So I'm thinking about because that was actually pretty easy to make happen. Um, Montrose is like open to that, which is cool.
Yeah.
But the thing in the fair, so it might end up only being the street race, which I think would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I
Um,
think it'd be sweet.
and I've been talking to some other folks, and I'd love to get some of you guys out here and have a deal where you guys could also like teach and make a little money
Yeah.
on that end,
Yeah.
because that's a like we had Russell come out this last summer Bobbitt, and he taught a clinic, and it was awesome. You know, it was small, intimate, fun. Everybody had a blast, and he made a little bit of money
Sweet.
and got to go ride in Colorado. So
Yeah, no, I think that's been like one of my goals is to come up and ride Colorado. I haven't really had a true opportunity to go out and ride in the mountains up there. And
oh,
I'm driving through there all the time traveling, and I've never had a good chance to stop other than going out to like Nicole Bradford's. That's the only place I've ridden in the mountains in Colorado.
okay. Well,
So
we need to make that happen
we'll
because
have to figure something out. And then, like I said, I mean, definitely let's do an event for sure out there. I think it'd be good.
for sure, man. Well, cool. I'll talk to you about
Yeah,
that here real soon, and then I'll let
yeah,
you get to training because I know you got to do that. And good luck,
no worries. Thank
for
you.
sure. And haul
Thanks
the
for
man.
having me on. Definitely. I'll do my best.
Right on, Mason. Thank
All
you
right,
so
man.
much.
All right. See ya.
Later. Hey, everybody. If everybody's still here, Matt Andreas, Colorado does have the best trails. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you really enjoyed that. That was super cool to have Mason on. He's 24 years old. He's just got his first real team ride with Beta last year. It's really, really cool. Please check him out at Mason Ottersberg on Instagram and Facebook. I've tagged him in a few things, so it should be pretty easy to find him. Yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching this. Thank you for sticking around to the end. If you're still here, give me a rock and roll sign. We're going to make a new club of guys that watch all the way to the end. Chris, I am in Montrose, Colorado, which is on the western slope. Shane, it is time to ride. It's always time to ride. My event page said 6 p.m. for this? Because anyway, I'm sorry, John. If it said that, that's weird because although I'll check Facebook because it said for me to come on today. It reminded me that it was this morning. Maybe I botched it. I don't know. Sorry about that. I will, yeah, right on. There we go. Thanks, Chandler. Thanks, Charlie. Matt, Andreas, what's happening? We're going to call this the Rock and Roll Club for sticking around to the end. Yeah, thanks, guys, for watching. John, sorry about that. You can obviously go back and watch it anytime. I'm gonna try to make this thing into a podcast too, so you can listen to it while you're driving. Got to figure that out. I hope everybody is having. Yeah, Joel, thanks, man. I hope everybody has a ripping good weekend. The weather here is supposed to be snowy and cold, which means we could have some traction, which is awesome. Shane, what did yours say? Eric, what's up? Fist bump. Yeah, guys, I just cannot say thank you enough for watching this thing. I'm going to try to keep this rolling next week. Well, I'm going to keep this rolling and try to grow it. I really want to grow this thing into something cool. Gospel Two Wheel show every week. Next week, we are talking about we're going to talk about an ice snow setup for your tires. Yeah, man, punk rock. Um, you guys are awesome. I love it. I love the comments. Next week, Thursday, 7:30 a.m. We're gonna be talking about ice tires, and not ice racing tires on smooth ice because I don't really know anything about that. Although Matt Simpson, if he's still watching, knows a whole bunch about that and goes fast, turning left. But we're gonna be talking about setups for riding in the snow and ice in the mountains, so you don't ever have to stop riding. Timber sleds are an awesome option too. If you're into that thing, sweet. I'm not. I had one. It was neat, but I'm more into putting screws and tires and going out and banging around, especially living here in Montrose where it doesn't snow that much. So yeah, next week, let everybody know. Talking about ice setups, different ways to go, cheap, expensive, in between, how much fun it stinking is. Be on the lookout for some videos of that coming up on our page because I'll put some videos to get everybody stoked about that. And hopefully we get some snow so that we can get some traction and get the dust down and so we can go ride our dirt bike.